condense a radio version, a short version of what I thought was this hysterical little mini feud with you and Tom Brokaw when you saw Bill Paley being interviewed for his book on the Today Show.
You know, Tom and I have always been friends, and when I was doing the morning news, he was the Today Show host, and I looked up one morning, and there, lo and behold, on the Today Show was the fellow who owned CBS, William Paley, Bill Paley, this great titan of broadcasting. And Tom Brokaw is interviewing him, and those of us at his own network didn't even know that he had a book. So I felt just roundly put down by this, and I really was just kind of angry about it. And Brokaw, though, I must say, was not about to let me forget it. We'd always been great friends, and we loved to needle each other. Lo and behold, the next day, by messenger, a photo comes of Tom Brokaw sitting beside Bill Paley on the Today Show set, and he's autographed it. "Dear Bob, you owe me a chicken fried steak. I told Bill Paley you're doing a great job over there. All the best, Tom." Well, I tell you what I did. I thought if he wanted a chicken fried steak, I'd send him one. So I called my brother down in Texas, and I had him send him a chicken fried steak raw. He put a onion in the package just to make it a little better than it even was, and just sent it to him. We didn't bother to refrigerate it, of course. We just sent it to him at his home on Park Avenue. To this day, he won't admit that he got it, but I know that he did. I have my sources.
And then it goes one step further, though.
Tom and I continued to play these tricks on each other, and one time there was an item that ran in Variety or someplace that said that there was a possibility that he was going to be replaced on the Today Show by Alan Alda, who was the star of MASH at that time. So I just turned it around, and I wrote him a phony fan letter and said I had heard where he was going to replace Alan Alda on MASH, and I thought it was a much better job for him because, after all, it was an acting job, and I knew he'd be more at home there than in the news business, and I signed a phony name and sent it to him. Lo and behold, I'm sitting there a couple of days later, and he pulls this out and says, "Oh, well, some people have something a little mixed up," and he proceeded to read this letter on the air. It was my finest moment. I've never felt better or happier in my life than to know I'd really gotten old Tom. I then let him know that it was a phony letter, and a couple of days later he got back at me. He said, I got this letter the other day, and it was phony, and he said, "I'll tell you who was behind it." Said it was a guy over at CBS, but said if I told you his name, you wouldn't recognize it. But it was like that with Tom and me for a long time, and we're the best of friends. What I'm most proud of is that this is still a serious news broadcast. It's a place where people can lay out their positions on issues. We're a Sunday talk show. We're not very fancy, but we know who our audience is. We know who we're talking to out there, and it's a very serious group of people.
So we won't see Britney Spears on your show anytime?
Not next month, at least. I think we will not. I think these broadcasts, and they go through various, people have different ideas about it. At one point during this, when I was doing the broadcast, we had some news executives that wanted to move the whole program to Hollywood and turn it into a, Entertainment Tonight kind of broadcast. I had another person at one point in the broadcast that said, "I don't care who you put on there, I want to see some mud wrestling." I mean, these things really happen, and you kind of just hump it along and try to outlast those kinds of suggestions. We do best when we put serious people on there and let them explain why they believe and why they say what they say, and that, I think, is the service we perform to our viewers.